Well, hey there everybody. Today I'm going to teach you how to make these print and cut gnome valentines with heart candies. The supplies you're going to need for this project is cardstock, such as 65 to 80 pound cardstock. I am using 65 pound here. You'll need a printer. You'll need a Cricut machine if you're planning to do the print and cut process, or you can skip that and just use scissors. You'll need some heart candies. I'm using chocolate candies here, and some foam tab tape to stick them on. I use a weeding tool to remove the backs of the foam tab tape, and then you'll also want a pen, of course, to write your recipient's name. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do print and cut Valentine's cards with your Cricut machine. The first thing we want to do is upload our designs. So I have these cute gnome designs here, and you can get them below. They are linked below in the video description for you, and you can find out more about how you can get all my other Valentine's printables as well. So we want to import these by going to our upload button that's on the left hand side and then clicking on upload image, and we'll want to browse our computer and bring in the PNG image. Alright, so here is my image imported here. I always select complex to make sure that I'm not losing any important details. And then we want to hit the continue button at the bottom of the screen. You'll see another screen here that presents you with some options of erasing things. You do not need to do this with any of my files. However, if you're working with a file that you need to remove a background, when you see this little cross here, you can click and the background would be removed. As you can see there, that just removed our white background. In this case, we don't want that, so we're going to leave it as is. If you are a Cricut Access subscriber, you can also use the automatic background remover right here as well. We'll go ahead and click apply and continue. Even though we didn't apply anything, it'll still just tell you to do apply and continue. And you'll be presented with a screen that looks something like this, and it's going to ask you, do you want this to be a cut image only, meaning it'll just capture the square or rectangle here in that case, or do you want it to capture the actual printed design on our card here? And of course we want to select the print and cut option. So we'll click the upload button once we select that. You'll see it here under recent uploads, and you'll just want to click on that so it's highlighted, and then click add to canvas at the bottom corner of your screen. Once you do that, it's going to drop it in here, and it might make it larger than what you would like it, so you're just going to want to scale it to what you want the design to be. So since we're working with a Valentine's card here, I recommend something rather simple, like maybe a 3x5 or 3x6, in this case 3x6.5, or actually this is almost 4, so almost 4x6.5 for these cards in particular. You'll also notice when you're working with print and cut, if you scale your image too large, you may get an error over here, and it'll just say it's too large, and it'll give you the dimensions that you need to stay within. So as soon as you reduce the size, that error will go away. So just decide what you would like these as. You could do like maybe 5x3, or you could do something a little bit bigger if you want. I ended up doing mine at 3.8 by 6.4, and that fit rather well for the heart candy that I'm going to be putting right here. But feel free to play around with that because you might be using a different candy, or you may not be using a candy at all. So I'm just going to delete this one since I already have all these other ones scaled here. And I'm going to go ahead and click my Make It button, and it's going to send this to the cut screen. So because I did these a little on the larger side, I can only fit one per page because Cricut has to have the space to put in this black registration box, which is how our machine knows where to cut on the mat here where our paper is. So it is only going to be one per page in this case. If you wanted to shrink these down and fit two per page, then you could play around with that and scale them up or down. Once we've established this page here, all you need to do is click the continue button to go to the next screen, and you'll be presented with something that looks like this. Now, if your Cricut machine is connected to Bluetooth, it'll go ahead and connect if it's powered on, or you could plug it in with the USB cable. And you're going to hit that send to printer button. It's going to prepare your print here for a minute, and if your printer is either plugged into your computer or connected via Wi-Fi, then it will appear here, and you can select if you have multiple printer choices. I almost always toggle on the system dialog option here because it's going to allow me to select that I want to print on cardstock from my particular printer. This is going to vary according to, do you want to set additional preferences before the image starts printing. If you do, and you want the ability to say select a cardstock material because that's what you're printing on like me, then you might want to check on that use system dialog. The add bleed function here, it's not applicable to our design because it's a white background, but if you were using another design where you want to make sure it's edge to edge color and you don't end up with any white lines around the edges, then you'd want to toggle that on. It usually defaults to being on and I almost never touch it. So after toggling on the system dialog, I'm going to click print and it's going to open up another dialog box for me. And because I'm printing on cardstock, I'm just going to click preferences in my printer box and toggle over to my main menu and select cardstock. This is going to vary printer to printer and every dialog box might look a little different, but this is just an example of what this would look like. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit print and we're going to print these out. Alright, so I have sent this to my printer through Cricut Design Space as I just showed you, and it's now going to print out. And as soon as it does, we're going to go ahead and load it right onto our mat and get it cut out. Alright, so I have my Cricut mat here and I'm going to place my printout right at the top corner there, smooth it on. And I have selected a medium weight cardstock, but you would select your corresponding cardstock. If you're using a heavier weight, then you want to select that. So I'm going to go ahead and press that flashing arrow button to load my mat. And the first thing our machine is going to do is measure the mat, and then it's going to scan this black registration box here. And that's how Cricut is going to know where to cut on the mat. So once you have scanned your mat, you're going to press that flashing go button, and it's going to scan this black registration box. Now, if you ever experience any issues where Design Space says, hey, we can't read the registration box and proceed with the cut, that might be because you don't have enough light in your space. So first check that, because Cricut needs light in order to see what we're scanning here. And also check to make sure that you didn't smear any of your ink. That's also something that can prohibit Cricut from effectively scanning our cut here. So it's just going to scan this, and then once it has scanned, it'll proceed to cut out our rectangle. Alright, so that's done. Let's go ahead and unload our mat by pressing that double arrow button. And I'm going to flip my mat over here to peel the cardstock away. And here is our little design. I like to use these foam tabs to stick on the candy. Of course, you don't have to use candy. You could put a pencil on here or something else that's not edible altogether. But I like to use these little foam tabs. So I'm going to stick a couple of those on and remove the backs here. I'm just using a weeding tool in order to accomplish that. And then I have my little heart candy here. It's a heart chocolate candy, and I'm just going to place that right on top of those little foam tabs, and it'll hold it securely on there for us. And that's all there is to these Valentines. Very simple, very easy, and a lot of fun to make. Definitely kid friendly. They can help you cut these out if you don't want to use a Cricut, or just put all of the chocolates on there. It'd be really fun to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you all next time.